Okay, so here it is. I'll go down this way, go up, and this way. So this, okay, I don't know if this has anything to do with it, the leather sofa. So this is my apartment lobby. And I don't know if you can see, well, of course you can see, but it is full of Mandela affected symbolism. And somebody pointed this out to me when they came over to my apartment. Oh, I think it was the guy who gave me his cat. He's like, you're a girl with a Mandela affected channel. You live in an apartment building with all this Mandela affected symbolism in it. And the funny thing was this new management company who took over and decorated it like this, progressively and slowly. Took over for our building in 2012. 2012, folks. And they just kind of came out of nowhere, and it was such a surprise. Like, the building was sold. Now, granted, nothing was decorated like this when they moved in. A lot of this was done last summer, especially these ornate picture frame type things on the wall, which I have mixed feelings about, although they do make the lobby look much more ostentatious and fancy instead of just the regular walls. But they also look kind of shishi and erudite and religious and, you know, elite, which kind of goes with the black and white checkerboard floor. But anyway, okay, so one of my neighbors is coming. Hold on. Okay, so anyway, one of my neighbors just walked down. He walked out of that hall and he walked into our really, really old elevator. And then a guy who looked like Jason Christopher just walked through the lobby, but it wasn't him. I mean, he didn't look that much like Jason Christopher, but at first he did, because he had kind of like reddish hair and a beard with manscaping and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so they bought the building in 2012, and then they did this royal ornate type crap up here, which I guess it does look kind of better, but it's interesting. But so anyway, let's go around the room. First, of course, we've got Marilyn Monroe. And then we've got this picture, which at first I didn't think had anything to do with Mandela effects initially, but and of course, if you guys see anything that I'm not catching, because I'm not always as up on Mandela effects as everyone else is, because I watch so many different YouTube videos and so many different kinds of things. But anyway, this reminds me of the videos that Nobleness D makes about the islands and everything smooshed together, and how they would or should look if they weren't smooshed together. Or maybe how they look if they are smushed together. But anyway, this just reminds me of all those islands that Nobleness D makes videos about. And then, of course, we have the American flag and the Statue of Liberty and the black and white checkerboard floor, which that's like the theme of all the videos I watch on YouTube. And then over on this side, it's just this gorgeous picture, which just looks funky and 60s and Age of Aquarius, and like, the world is changing and shifting, yo. It's just crazy. We're going into an alternate universe where the trees are a crazy color and crazy. Age of Aquarius, I don't know. I'm tired today. I've been relaxing all day. But anyway, it also reminds me of this Russian painter called Leonid Afremov. He is amazing, and it might even be, but I don't think it is, because his paintings are more angular. But you guys should look him up on Google. It's Leonid, like how you would spell it, and Afremov, kind of how it sounds, Afremov, Leonid Afremov. He is an amazing painter. But anyway, that looks psychedelic, funkadelic, tripadelic, all that good stuff. So anyway, oh, and that up there is just like a picture of a flower. Oh my God, from here it looks like marshmallows. No, those are white flowers. That could be the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man or the Pillsbury Doughboy with his white neckerchief. Anyway, so it's just a really interesting lobby. I don't know why we have this patch of white checkerboard floor. I know some apartments have that as their kitchen floor in their kitchens. I don't have that, thank God. I have something uglier. But oh well, at least it's not black and white checkerboard floor. But anyway, so as I was saying, the people who bought the building, they just kind of took it over in 2012 out of nowhere. They are a Middle Eastern company, of all things. And their name is, which is kind of crazy because I think they own more properties than just ours, but their name is our street, and it has the word towers in it. So it's like our street blank, blank towers, the name of our street. And it's just really weird because, oh, there's a guy doing his laundry. And it's weird because our building, first of all, there's only one of our building. We do not have two. So there's only one of our buildings. So they should not pluralize it. And second of all, our building is not a tower. It's only 4 stories. So the fact that they would even call it the towers is strange to me. So again, they're Middle Eastern. That may or may not be weird. I'm not trying to be prejudiced against anyone who's Middle East, but it is strange when you think of international strife, particularly with the U.S. and overseas, any place overseas. But anyway, that was really weird. And then also too, in December of 2012, because they came in and they took over in 2012, in December of 2012, and I believe it was December 12th, which is the inverse of December 21st. Our old apartment manager that we had suddenly passed away in her apartment. Now, this wasn't mysterious. It was kind of a long time coming. She had heart conditions. She was not taking care of herself. It was kind of a nightmare. She was doped up on drugs, and she was not quitting smoking, and she smelled like stale cigarettes all day, and it was not good. So somebody who took care of her found her in her apartment, and so at that point, but it was just really creepy, And at that point, they actually had the manager who used to live in one of the smaller units move into her apartment after she passed. So that was weird. And then another weird thing about our building too is that it's old. Like, it was built circa around World War I or whatnot. And so it was built pretty, well, let's just say it's one of the better earthquake-ready buildings because it was built so sturdily and solidly, but that's not what I'm getting at. What's really interesting about it is they say that this was the equivalent of trailers for actors. So actors would act in films up in the Hollywood Hills back in the silent days, and then they would come back down by car, and they would get their makeup done in the varying units that now serve as apartments. Somebody thinks that's funny. Hold on one second. Okay, so anyway, those people passed through. That guy looked like the guy who just passed through. He had a typical quintessential blonde chick of a girlfriend, and he had a bandana around his head and a slight afro, and he looked like a 60s hippie dude. See, we get them all types here. Anyway, so I promise I will finish this video soon. So anyway, this is my lobby, and we also have a library down here. Now let's see if we have any Bibles in here or anything at all related to anything Bible-ish, because I think I saw something interesting in here. Okay, well, they've got the book Flipped, which is interesting right there. Flipped. That's kind of interesting because when you think of stuff that's shifty. Oh, we've got Sins of the Father. We've got Leap of Faith. Daniel Steele, I read that one. That was about a French chick with an idyllic life and then her American husband who turned out to be crazy. So that's good. That talks about international relations in its own way. Not having anything really to do with the Mandela effect that I'm thinking off the top of my head, but let's see. The Good Girl. Being dead is no excuse. Well, hey, in 2012 we may have all died, so I guess you're right, because we're all still living in our death. All right, so we've got Goddess of Vengeance, which I read, which is so weird because it had nothing to do, like the main character of the book was supposedly the goddess, but she never got vengeance, which I thought was so lame. And it actually had crossed my mind that in a parallel universe, the goddess did get vengeance, and she didn't get it in that book. Next by Michael Crichton, I read that. That actually was, Michael Crichton's books are good, but they're a little too cinematic for me and whatnot. But it was about like this nanotechnology that formed into its own kind of animal and attacked human beings. It was crazy. And then we have, let's see, The Flood Girls. They got the Good Girl and the Flood Girls. Oh, this one. Oh my God. I read this too. Okay. You'll see. Nothing in this book is true, but it's exactly how things are by Bob Frizell. This book actually talks about 2012 and how we should have all died, or not died. It doesn't say that. It says in 2012 everything will just be magically amazing, and so on and so forth, and it'll be a time of peace. And I can't remember exactly what, but I kind of jettisoned this book because I just thought it was bullshit. But maybe it's not, because now if you factor in parallel universes into it, maybe not, but it's got a lot of conspiracy theories in it. I can't remember all of it, but it was really interesting. So anyway, let's just see. We haven't found any other Mandela affected books. Well, we got Wonder Woman. I just did a couple videos on Wonder Woman. And oh, the Wally Lamb book right here. I read that. That's about the Columbine shooting. His books are so heartbreaking. Oh, I read I Know This Much Is True about the twins. I think that was the most arresting one. We're all damaged. Yep, we are. We're all damaged because we live in a shifty universe. Anyway, I just thought I'd come in here. I'm not seeing anything that really, really leaps out, but I know you guys are so good at seeing stuff that I don't see. So if anybody sees anything that is arresting to them concerning anything 2012, anything concerning the Mandela effect, that would be interesting. All the same, this is my apartment lobby, and this could only be the apartment lobby of a girl who is into the Mandela effect. Let's just put it that way. All right, you guys. Peace out. I hope you have a great week, and I will talk to you soon. Okay.